Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Welcome along. Monday night, 8 p.m. The Online Darts Live Lounge returns for episode 148. Myself, Phill, Jack Garwood, and Lee Boyce here for the next couple of hours to discuss all darting matters, and there is plenty going on right now. Gentlemen, how are we?
Hello, darling.
All right. How are we doing? You all good?
All good, all good. What's been going down?
Busy man.
Same old.
Fair enough. Busy time in the darting landscape again.
It's always bloody busy. I've not stopped.
Yeah, absolutely. But before we get going, congratulations to our own Jarlath Eaton, who is now a proud daddy, slightly early, but mum and baby both doing fine. Congratulations to you both. I know you'll have us sneakily on at home somewhere listening, mate.
Can you say father instead of daddy? Daddy's a bit disconcerting.
But congratulations to Jar and Roisin. Yeah, it was all a bit go, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's completely screwed up my plans for this weekend. But yeah, selfish bugger. No, I'm joking.
Before we get going, let's jump into the chat room. ABM Florian, how we doing? Zane, Andrew, Malachi, Daniel, how do? Sam is in. Kieran, Anthony is in. As always, mate, really like the show, mate. Well done as well. Cameron, how we doing? Craig, Nels, James wants the Barney alarm. Not yet tonight. Evening, Chris. El Classica, Leo, Paddy, how we doing? There was plenty going on under the dev tour, agreed. I'm not sure how much we can say, but there was plenty going on. How are we doing? Laura, Maisie, and John with you as well. Homemade ice cream, fan of that. How are we doing? Joel, Bill is in. Jamie and Big Johnny is back from Florida. Welcome along, everyone. We've just shared some links on social media, so it'd be grateful if you could give them a share, as well as Ed and Bob join us. But on the horizon, we'll come to that later. The FA Cup of Darts is back. We've got a couple of talking points on that, which are going to be interesting, no doubt. We'll put 50p in Gob and just let him run.
We've got more than 50p to put in him tonight.
Have you two thought about having your own opinions?
It's just funny.
You pair get sat on a fence.
It's just funny watching you go along. How are we doing, Fraser? I hope I'm still in Florida. My apologies. Joining us.
I've done it ready. Dob, this is for you. Just let me know when you want me to start it and I'll just place it.
Add them all up and you can buy me a beer this weekend.
You'd have an awful lot of beers if it was how many you moaned. Trust me.
That's the point. I'll bank a few more tonight.
Right. Busy time, so let's crack on. Let's do it. Let's go straight to the development tour, because it was a massive part of the darting landscape at the weekend. First of all, boys, tour card holders did all right again, didn't they?
Yeah. I'm not going already.
Why not?
Because it's stupid.
Yeah, it's not ideal.
They're developed. End of.
We'll come on to that in a minute. But Friday afternoon,
No, we won't. They're developed.
We'll come on to that after and tell people who've won. We'll do that. But we'll do the development tour number 1 was won by Danny Jansen as Lee disappears. Yeah,
I've not even started yet.
Danny Jansen won development tour number 1 and posting some big numbers, and this has come from nowhere.
It hasn't. The ceiling has always been there. We've seen the ceiling on the Pro Tour in the past couple of years. The problem is and has been a second season syndrome. It kicks in for a lot of players. It's more and more of a thing nowadays. I'm absolutely convinced of it that once the whole, I don't even, but once it's worn off, once the effect of being on tour for the first time and going to a pro tour, being excited, that's long gone, right? That excitement's not there, so there's not as much build up to go to them. Then it becomes a chore. Then year two, you're chasing money to stay there, and it just becomes that much more difficult to get up and go. First year, it doesn't matter how much you earn because you know you've got a second year to go after it. You can relax, you can get used to the environment, and quite frankly, every single time you win a game in year one, it's a bonus. Year two, you're doing it for your dinner, and that's where it is. So Danny's had that problem. Secondly, his action is so prone to breaking down. The breaking of the wrist is so severe. When he was winning titles, we're like, this will not hold up. And unsurprisingly, it did not hold up. So there is that. But if he gets it right, he's a very, very good dart player. We have seen that. We've seen that on the Challenge Tour in the opening weekend, and now we've seen it on the Dev Tour. Danny is taking full advantage of everything he's allowed to play in. He's fallen off the tour, so he's allowed to play in the Dev Tour. I won't look. Is he too good for a lot of players on there? Yeah, but he's definitely taking advantage of it, and he's learning how to win again. And now he's got to learn how to win and keep that action when it's under pressure.
Yeah, not sure that happens, but he's playing well at the moment. Event number 2 is a final that we could see on the Pro Tour in years to come. King Barry beats Gian Van Veen 5-4. And again, two players that are just too good for the Dev Tour. Look, it's not their it's not their fault. They can play in it. They've done nothing wrong. But this is where the rules are just fucking stupid.
Yeah, and it's never been an issue with the players, right? They're only taking advantage of the rules that are there, as that players have done way before them. You go back 10, 15 years. Your likes of Humphreys have been doing it for ages. Dimitri van den Berg was flying in from Euro tours in which he loses on the Friday night to play on the Sunday of a development tour and picking up double titles. I was there, I saw it happen. They're only doing what they're allowed to do, but the fact they're allowed to do it is the issue.
Yeah.
And look, they both played brilliantly. They both come through incredibly tough fields, produced a very, very good final that, if you look at the stats, 90 and a 96 is a Pro Tour game, isn't it? Let's be honest.
100%.
They just shouldn't be there.
But just because of the success of your Michael Smiths, your Luke Humphreys, who have done this, Dimitri, who have done this, the PDC are only going to see this as a good sign, not a bad sign, because it's only looking good on the average.
Their bottom line is to sell sponsorship to this, and they do that by going, look how good the top averages is, look at the performances that they're being put in on a development tour. The fact they've got, look, change the name. The basis comes down to it being called a development tour. You don't want it to be called a youth tour because then people kick off about the fact you've got 24-year-olds playing on it, but it's a World Youth Championship. It's a development tour because it's meant to be an environment for players between the age of 16 and 24 to kick on to the next stage of their game. If you have a tour card, you developed. And I'm going to stick by that no matter who comes in, no matter what anybody says, no matter what players been through it. If you have a tour card, you have got to a point where you are more developed than everybody else outside the pro ranks. Therefore, why do you get an advantage to go and kick 16-year-olds' asses every week? Because that's what they're doing.
I know, 100%.
Waiting until you're in the top 32 is just a cop-out for me, or 64, whatever it is now. Like,
it's 32.
Wasn't there this weekend because he snuck in to 31st. Could you imagine?
Yeah. Moving on to development tour number 3. It was a double for Keane Barry, beating Sebastian Białowski in the final. Wessel Nyman getting to a semi-final as well. A good run to the quarter-final for Harry Gregory as well. A young man we've seen at the Motor Super Series and in the JDC. Everyone will notice I am leaving one name out because we'll come on to that when we talk about it in the roundup. Don't worry, I've not forgotten. We're just doing the brief summary before we pick the bones out of it. Dev Tour number 4 was won by Jürgen van der Velde, beating Leighton Bennett in the final. Again, another semi-final for Sebastian Białowski, quarter-final for Keane Barry and Nathan Gervin. Very good from them. And in the final Dev Tour number 5 of the weekend was won by Gian Van Veen, beating Dylan Slevin in the final, semi-final for Cam Crabtree and Daniel Stevenson. Moreno Blom, Nico Moreno, Blom, Bradley Roos, Russell Nyman getting to quarter-finals as well. But Bo Greaves did make a debut in the Dev Tour for the year. She only played in 4 of the 5 events, but very positive from Bo.
Good. Yeah. Went deep in a couple of them, and look, we're not expecting the world from Bo in this environment. We never have been, but it's good to see her in this environment giving it a go, because if she is going to make the step up, like a lot of people have been asking her to and suggesting that she should go to Q school and she'll walk a tour card and she'll be in the top 32 in no time, this is where you get used to that environment, something that she isn't quite as familiar with or as comfortable with. That's why she picks WDF a lot of time, because it's a far more relaxed environment. There's a bit more noise going on. There's slightly less rules in the playing area for you to be able to go about your business when you're not playing darts. And that's why she's tended to favour the WDF for a while, aside from being world champion and whatever else. But she's put herself in this situation. She said she's not going to play in all of them, some of them. Hopefully the early success has suggested that actually, if she can make it work with her schedule, that this is worthwhile pursuing and seeing where she ends up. And all it does is set her up in good stead for chasing the women's series, the women's match play, and any of the spots that she might then take up next year.
And this is exactly, just to add on to that, Jack, this is exactly what the development tour should be for. Exactly. This weekend, Bo Greaves is the perfect example of what the Dev Tour should be, not us talking about tour card holders and all that sort of stuff going on and romp into success. One of the huge success stories of this is probably what Bo done, because there'll be myths. People probably were looking at this and done, oh, she'll do and smash it and win 1, 2 maybe, because we've sort of demolished some weekends at the Women's Series. But actually, it's a good leveler to see where she is, and to see her, above Leighton Bennett, for example, who's not a tour card after one weekend and only playing in 4 of them, is a huge success. So I just think generally it's a good weekend, and hopefully it means we'll see Bo performing it more than obviously, because we haven't seen her in it yet. But it's a step in the right direction, which is weird to say of a 2-time world champion, but it's another step in the right direction of someone who's still developing in the game.
Yeah, and like Cam Crabtree's another example of that. Played really well last year, had the odd Pro Tour call-up, didn't get a tour card this year, so gets another year to go and work on his game. It's like a finishing school for someone like Cam Crabtree. Don't get me wrong, there's always going to be a gap. There are always going to be some people that enter the development tour who are right at the bottom of that ability, that are going to average 50, 60 odd, but are there for the experience, to get used to being in that professional, competitive environment. Everybody has to start somewhere, and once you get a taste of that, it can either make you or it can break you. You go back, you work harder, you'll go back in that environment again, you'll keep competing, you'll see what you come up against. You only get better by playing better players, I guess, but which sort of contradicts a lot of the point about tour cards being there. But there's just an extreme about playing better players at that point when they're rocking up first round and smashing past people that are 40 points below in the averages. But like I said, Crabtree's the perfect example. Like Bradley Roos, Harry Gregory, are those sort of players that haven't made a big step up yet. You might see him in the odd UK Open or whatever else they're going to jump about, but that's where Dev Tour should be focusing on at the top end, not Gian and Keen Barry. Keen's had a tour card for 4 years.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, 100%. Wessel averaged 111. Yeah, look, Wessel's my dark horse for the year. I've made no secret of that. I think he's going to have a really good year, but again, shouldn't be there. He has a tour card. He can produce that level. We've seen it. And just looking at the top of the Dev Tour order of merit now, you've got Keen Barry and Jan Van Veen 1 and 2. Between them, they've got earned over 10 grand this weekend on the Dev Tour.
Man.
And then you've got Danny Jansen, again, a non-tour card holder, fine. Jürgen Vandervelde, tour card holder. Sebastian Białecki, non-tour card holder, fine. Nyman, Slevin, tour card holders. It's a top 11, because I'm going to go Owen Bates in there, dominated by mainly tour card holders right now.
And to be expected. There's no 100%. Surprise with how this weekend's done, because the level that they're playing at, majority of those are new tour card holders, so must be in some sort of form to come through Q-Stall, some very impressive form, come on the back of 4 Pro Tours, 2 qualifiers. It's unfair advantage in regards to coming into the Dev Tour.
it also makes a mess of the Dev to Order of Merit because there are tour cards on offer. So it's like, hang on a minute, right, he can't have one, right, he can, no, yeah. So trying to work out where those tour cards are going. And again, the PDC have done a half-decent job in closing backdoor entries in recent years. But this is one that they haven't shut. And for argument, I'm just going to use the top two. Say Keen Barry and Jan Van Veen struggle and need a world championship to keep their tour card. This is an unfair way of getting that 10 grand to do it because the other tour card holders don't have this opportunity.
It always has been like, why should they get the chance to go and if you've gone and got yourself a tour card, even if it's on now that Q scores change, the fact that you could do it over one good day is incredibly unlikely because you have to do it twice. But if you've got through that environment, you are good enough to be a tour card holder. Even if that was a positive bit of form for a week, you still put yourself in that situation. I've said this a million times. You do not fluke a tour card in any way, shape, or form at all. Aaron Beanie, look, but he still had to go and win those games, right? He still had to beat what was in front of him. You do not fluke a tour card. You don't fluke a Pro Tour win. You still have to go and win. It's the one sport in the world where your opponent can't hand it to you. You still have to go and hit everything to get over the line. There's no, I'm getting a 3-0 lead and I'll sit back and I'll defend for a bit. You still have to go and get over the line at every single opportunity. It just makes a mockery of it, doesn't it? Let's be honest.
Yeah, completely. I'm going to answer it because it was all over social media. It's not hiding. Chris says, do you know anything about the rumours on Leighton Bennett kicking off big time at the weekend and potentially getting a fine? Look, I wasn't there. However, speaking to people that were there, I would expect Leighton Bennett to be getting a DRA letter this week. Like I say, I wasn't there. I didn't see it personally, but speaking to people that were there, I would certainly suggest there is a fine coming.
I'd WhatsApp him, but I'm not sure he's got access to
that. Yeah, look, it was all over social media because you're allowed phones in the venue now. You can't take photos and whatever, and the news come out very quickly of a little strop, shall we say?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, this is my point. That obviously, look, we weren't there, but we've got friends and know people that were there. Are some of these youngsters completely missing the point at the moment, as in they think they're Michael Van Gerwen, Luke Littler, Michael Smith before they've done their apprenticeship? Because by all accounts this weekend, there was some right attitude flying around at Milton Keynes.
And the other thing is, these are under 23s that sit and watch pros consume alcohol and think they've got to do the same to a ridiculous level. The physique of dart players, even those under the age of 23, has changed significantly in the last 15 to 20 years. Now you've got skinny little runts running around, getting tanked up all day and then trying to throw darts and losing. It's not a good combination.
No, and I just look at people. It's like, do your apprenticeship. You're not a superstar yet.
The problem with one of them is at 12 years old, he was a superstar.
Yeah, look, I agree. But just this isn't based on anyone, but just be a little bit humble is the thing. Anyone that's there, it's a young. You're still in your infancy. Go and do your learning. And look, I suppose this is one plus side, and plus and negative, that when I was a youngster coming through, we didn't have things like this, so we had to go and play against full-grown men. So that was our apprenticeship, and if we said the wrong thing, you'd get decked. You would get chinned if you kicked off against someone. So look, I get that it's good that they are being protected from that side of it, but it's also letting their egos run out of control a little bit.
But that's all the pros and cons of what Leighton and now Luke to an even bigger level is doing. That it's great that they're inspirational to the young generation in regards to pushing on and going to those levels. But also, if you are at the similar age to that and you are seeing players act in a certain way, or as you've mentioned, alcohol being a driver for it, if you haven't got that right support mechanism around you, you're going to think that that's the right behaviour. You're going to attend an event and see someone do something and think that's how I've got to behave to be the best, or that's what I've got to do to put my name in lights. And making a mistake isn't an issue. It's if you are making multiple of those mistakes is where it becomes a problem, because everyone will make mistakes, from the ultimate professional to lower down. It's how you respond to that and who's around you to tell you what is right and what is wrong. Giving someone a fine, let's be honest, if it's just a little slap on the wrist or some of the fines we've seen, it's not going to have any sort of impact on them. It's actually knowing not to do it then and what the consequences can be then. So there's a lot of learning from a number of these, and you don't like to hear it coming out the dev tour.
There's a lot of pressure in that room as well, though. Like, probably more so than at a pro level. At a pro level, you're doing it for yourself, your family, and whatever else involved. But at a dev tour level, a lot of these guys have been hyped up for the last couple of years, pushed into it. They go out and find sponsorships, have to deal with playing for someone else's money for the very first time. And I'm going to be completely honest, and this is from something that I experienced myself. Dart Connect absolutely does not help in this situation. Because you can see every single dart, every single visit, every single number of everything. And it's an average generation. It's a generation that are obsessed with that number, not the scoreline in the middle. They're obsessed with the number that goes next to their name on the outside on Dart Connect. And that means every single dart is under so much more scrutiny than anywhere else. The pros get it. Go and win. Doesn't matter how it comes. But a lot of those kids in that room are there for the first time, whatever, they've been doing it for a year or so. But the first question anybody asks after a result, how'd you get on? What was your average? Every single time.
Oh, yeah, 100%. But also going back to Lee's point as well, and this is where I'm very critical of the DRA, because they're not fit for purpose. They take too long to deal with stuff. Nothing gets published. Something that happened this weekend should be dealt with as soon as. And now, like you said, I don't think fines work at this level. However, banning them for a weekend would. I'm not talking about a monster ban or anything like that, but just a weekend ban. So if someone was a dick this weekend, it's dealt with. And if it's deemed suitable, now you're banned from the following weekend. You can't play. They would soon learn that way. Like I said, I'm not talking monster bans or anything like that. Something enough to go, hang on a minute, I'm not doing that again.
I guess the problem is that where there is only... It would have to warrant severity to miss 20% of the tour. That's the issue, is that... You certainly make them learn.
You could do an event.
When it is 5 events for a weekend and there's only 20 in a season, that losing
out of the weekends,
20% of your tour is a significant margin.
Yeah,
we used to have the same issue at uni when we were looking to, like, if someone stepped out of line or whatever as a national committee. We only have 6 games a year, maybe 8 games a year. So if you're banning somebody for 2-3 games to make an impact, they've missed half the season.
It could be an event.
Like 2 national events. If you ban them from one of them, they've literally missed. Where uni's quite time constrained as well, where you only get a certain number of shots in because you're only on your course for 3 years, depending on when you've joined it. We don't want people to miss out too badly on the national event, no matter how much of a knobhead they've been.
Yeah, but that would be looked at individually as an event. Yeah. Also, a good sort of detriment for in the future would be a suspended ban. So for 6 months, you're suspended. With then, if anything happens within that time, then you've got 1 event, 2 events. Because we talked about the certain individuals, but we started this off with an individual who's currently in the top 16, sitting in that 16 position. He has a good weekend next weekend, and he's in the top 2 or 3 next Dev Tour weekend. Then if he misses an event and misses out on a Grand Slam spot or a World Championship spot because of behaviour, he's only got himself to look at for that. So that sort of suspension or event ban, I agree, it'd be very, very harsh to ban someone for a quarter of the time. But if you said you can't play on the Friday, you miss a day, or it could be
miss 2 events or whatever.
Anyway.
5 events a weekend, you're banned for the first 2.
Yeah. And then it comes down to an individual situation, because that's going to have less impact on the player ranked 16 than it is the player ranked 13, because he'll play in the Pro Tour next week. Scott free.
Yeah, agreed that every case is on an individual basis, but you know what I mean, that there has to be some consequence other than financial, because it's not doing anything where missing something does.
And we know as well financially, some of these won't even impact the player. It'll be zero coming out their back pocket because it'll be covered for by a sponsor, management, potentially a parent in this scenario, depending on their age. There's got to be different ways where you can make that punishment if the behaviour is as bad as that. And I'm not saying removal of fines, because it always is a good thing to have in place, but it shouldn't be the sole factor of punishment. And we see that on the DRA with professionals.
But again, that goes back to the DRA not being fit for purpose. They take forever to deal with stuff. Stuff doesn't get published and whatever. So that's just the DRA. How we doing, Matt? I hope you're good. How we doing, Dan? Love Darts is in. Lendl, how we doing? Harrison, no one's done anything yet. We're just talking in a general terms that at times the attitude isn't what it should be, and there needs to be something to do it. Who's head of the DRA? Is it Nigel Mellor's chairman, I think?
No idea.
Is that his name? Or whoever. It's on the website. I can't remember off the top of my head. But that was a roundup of the Dev Tour. From there, let's go to the Premier League. And Michael Van Gerwen is running away with things as we speak. And look, you can tell I had 10 minutes for it. I actually did some prep. There is the league table as it stands. And already the signs are there.
Still don't think he's going to finish top, Philip.
I've changed my mind now. I think he might. Especially after the interview that we did with him at the weekend, which will drop this week. And it makes even more sense. I don't think he's going to get bored this year. But the fact he's won 3 out of the 4 nights, are the rest already playing for 3 spots?
Pretty much.
Yeah. He's just not gonna fold that sort of position.
It's not even not going to fold that position. I don't see enough of them playing well enough to make him lose in the first round. And if he just keeps picking up 2 points between that, if he doesn't win the night, if he doesn't get past the semi-finals at all between now and end of the season, he's still got 12 weeks. Even if you say he makes,
I'm looking at
half of them, he's still going to pick up another 12 points.
I'm looking at last year, and 24 was enough. He's currently on 15.
Yeah. So if he wins the first round,
Johnny Clayton and Aspinall were both on 24, and Clayton not for Aspinall didn't. But let's say 25 is enough. He needs 5 more wins at quarter-final stage to progress. It's just.
You think he wins half his first round games between now and end of the season? He's there.
Yeah. Chris said £8.50 a pint in Newcastle. Yeah, look, the venues just charge what they want these days. Not just for darts, just in general. Venue prices are astronomical at the moment. But
I was at the Nottingham Arena yesterday, and I was pleasantly surprised to see the alcohol was £6, and then I realised I had a February sale on at £7.50 usually.
Yeah, and what was that? Ice hockey?
Plus £1 for the cup. I was like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's just. Venues do what they want. But let's run you through what happened in Newcastle. Nathan Aspinall beat Michael Smith in a last leg decider. Huge win for Aspinall. Rob Cross beat Luke Humphreys. Again, a good game. Humphreys averaging well over a ton again. Voltage found a way. Game of the night in terms of a contest, arguably, was Luke Littler against Peter Wright. Littler winning it in a last leg decider, but Peter Wright used the element darts, and look what happens, boys.
Loses.
However, he's averaged Surely, just stick with them.
But you know the answer. You know what we're going to be talking about. You know what we're going to be talking about this time next week. Even more so, not with a Premier League, but with an open event as well, the full weekend. We just know that he's not done to do that.
Yeah.
Even with the performance that he's put in against Luke, but it probably gives a bit more hope in consideration. What was we saying, that potentially could have the lowest points in this format of around, was it single figures? Was all saying that there's a little bit more hope that there might be fighting now. I'm still not convinced he wins tonight, but there's still belief that maybe he could do better than what everyone is talking about. It doesn't help him that Aspinall did what Aspinall did, because now it's already people looking at Adapt and them facing each other next week.
Yeah. One, I've starred your comment. We'll come back to that when we do some questions. Ed knows one plastic blue penny for a pint in Portsmouth. We know where you've been. And then the final
for a night out.
Yeah. And then the final quarterfinal was Gerwin Price versus MVG. And again, this was a sum contest. Michael Van Gogh winning 6-4, averaging 107 to go in Price's 99. Encouraging signs for Gezi, but again, just MVG. This was arguably one of the best performances we've seen in the Premier League this year.
Are we surprised?
No.
At the minute, the only concern is his form's at sort of the run time of the year, but other than that, everything is just hitting into place. He's going to be in the list of favourites then this weekend, and that showed with a demolishing of Price, who's not playing too bad at the minute, but he's just looking very, very, very good. I don't want to hype it up too much, because we've seen these little spurts from MVG over the past year or two where he's had a few good weeks and the performances are ridiculous. It's maintaining that, and seeing how he performs this weekend will be very, very good, because it's hard not to predict, even with an open draw, it's hard not to predict that he'll be there on Sunday evening. But a bad result this weekend, or something down against him, or him losing to a qualifier or someone outside the top 32, and that confidence we've seen can be drained out of him pretty quickly.
Yeah. Semi-finals, Nathan Aspinall getting the better of Rob Cross 6-4, and MVG getting the better of Luke Littler. Again, another impressive display from Luke. And again, we've seen the big celebrations from Luke in terms of he's reeling in the big fish again. And there was a slight action change between game 1 and game 2 for Luke. Game 1, he was almost setting every dart, and then game 2 went back to the more rhythmical thing. But again, people made a lot of that. I like that. If things aren't feeling comfortable, just do the right things for yourself. Didn't have an issue with that.
I guess the worry is that too many changes at an early age, you can get a bit caught in between. As someone that's changed their action an awful lot over the last couple of years, just by natural evolution, or not putting something with set points to go back to for so long, that actually, if he then starts chasing 2, 3, 4 different actions of those, it becomes an issue. Look, he's a far better player, in my opinion, when he's free-flowing and just getting rid of the dart. But I also understand that he's put that set in to try and just settle himself down a second on the hockey and take an extra moment over that first dart. Not necessarily the others. I think that was 2 and 3, he shouldn't be setting full stop. But that first one, if he needs a half a second to get himself ready, then yeah, do it.
Yeah. And then in the final, MVG beats Nathan Aspinall 6-4 to claim a hat-trick of titles in the Premier League. Before we come on to this week's Premier League, we are going to play the much-talked-about Michael Van Gogh clip. And I've got to say, I just thought this was a brilliant press conference from Michael. We'll play the clip and then we'll discuss.
No, fantastic. He's a phenomenal player. I know that. And he has such a lot of talent, and he has got a great career in front of him. But like I always say, get the pressure a little bit of him. Don't ask him too many stupid questions. Just let him enjoy also what he does, and makes him a better player, I think, in the long run.
Michael, can you explain what you said earlier on about Luke Littler? You said that there were too many questions being asked about him, or
not too many questions. People. He's a young kid. How much pressure the press and everyone puts on his shoulders it's insane. You probably don't even know because you just ask the questions. But I know as a player how it is. I don't think it's fair on him, but that's my opinion. And let him enjoy his life. Let him do his own thing. Of course, that happens with famous people, but that's just my opinion.
I understand that, but so what
You
should
probably
happen?
you probably don't.
Oh, I don't understand what it feels like.
Otherwise, you won't ask the question.
Yeah, but what do you think should happen? Should he not be asked questions, or should he not?
Of course, but let him enjoy himself. Everywhere, whatever he does, if he puts a shoe on, if he puts his darts in his hand, wherever he puts his finger in his nose, whatever he does, everyone speaks about him. Everywhere it's in the newspaper. Let him enjoy himself. Let him.
I actually thought that was very, very good from Michael.
There will still be people on Twitter saying there's nothing going on and nobody's going after him. But yeah, that's the second high-profile player that has been at the very, very top of the game in the last 6 to 8 weeks now. To say, give him a break.
Yeah.
The problem is, because he's been shut into the Premier League, it's very hard for the conversations and the talking points still not to be about Luke Littler. If he would have had a few months now where we've not really seen him, the Pro Tour, yes, but you wouldn't have seen him on TV and then back at the UK Open, it's very different to... Fallon's always the example of this we looked at of someone breaking onto the scene. Fallon broke on the scene, sort of disappeared from TV a bit because of the tournaments, and then came back, and we saw that building up, and then with probably New York being the total highlights of media coverage. With Luke, it's relentless because we've seen him every single week. It still looks like he's enjoying it an awful lot, I'm not going to lie, especially when he's reeling in the big fish. But what Michael's saying and what Luke Humphries have said previously is 100% spot on. It would be good to see his darts just to the torting, and if he's not picking up Premier League wins, we don't see him in the media coverage as much. But with people like BBC and all that jumping on board, there's more eyes on the product and there's more eyes on Luke Littler than probably there has been on any other dart player for such a long time, if ever before.
It goes a couple of ways here. First of all, I'm not against people talking about Luke Littler. Understandably, he is the biggest name in the sport right now. If people are going to talk about Luke Littler playing darts, then fine. I've got no issue with that. It's all the other shit that's coming along with it, right? It's GB News reporting on his every single move. It's Sport Bible, every single opportunity they can get. Luke Littler does this. Luke Littler says surprising admission about retirement. Did he fuck? It was a throwaway comment at best. He laughed off, I might retire by 20. Suddenly, it's a clickbait. It's on Sport Bible, Lab Bible. You have to click into the comments to see it, and all sorts. And people are clicking through it, and that's how they're generating that. That's how it works. It's a joke, but that's the shit that needs to go. If you want to report on darts, Van Gerwen beats Littler in excellent semi-final. Brilliant. That's positive because that's what happened. Not Luke Littler. Luke Humphries proposes to his girlfriend when it's a picture of Luke Humphries and fuck knows what else is going on. It's a joke.
100%. And it's interesting coming to these events now. You get journalists rocking up from national newspapers, never been to a darts event before, and then when they don't get to speak to Luke, they're like, what? Like, literally, it's cover the event. It's a night, and if he wins and does well, superb, report on it. But it's the expectations are, again, ridiculous. And look, Luke is sheltered from it very, very well. The team around him do an amazing job in sheltering him from that. But we did hear some boos in Newcastle when he walked on. Both players got booed in that game, surprisingly. It was like, but it's like, don't turn fans against him for absolute shit reporting. But
the organisation need to support. As we've mentioned there, the support around Luke is very good, but the organisation needs to support him better. And do we expect to see Luke at all World Series events? Do we expect to see him at everything? That's done to happen. Should it or shouldn't it is a different debate, but the PDC have to support and be there for Luke, because at the minute the press is getting isn't all positive. And let's be honest, from day one of him breaking onto the scene from a PDC perspective at the Worlds, it wasn't positive from the off, and it should have been. it should have been all about the
The only
talents
way
that
they
he
come
is.
out to protect him is if it negatively impacts the PDC as a brand, and it ain't happening at the minute. So it's never going to happen.
But it is having it's having a negative impact on the brand, i.e. the Polish bus driver who beat him as the sort of headline. That doesn't look good on the brand of someone who's won a tour recently. However, there's eyes on the brand.
More numbers than anything else they can generate normally about Radek Sagansky, so they don't give a shit.
Yeah, but it's not positive, is it? It's a negative headline. It's a negative headline that's got views, but it's on their brand. That's the difference. It shouldn't be about how many eyes on the brand. It should be what eyes are on there and are they for the right reasons. And the companies that you've named are not helping the fan base and the progression of Loot of someone who's still. I know it probably doesn't fit into our argument earlier very well, but Luke, someone who's still developing in the game. And that's what he's doing. And it's such an exciting watch. There's no one else who's switching their dart throw from Dame 1 to Dame 2 in the Premier League or has never done it before. So it's the same with them. We're talking about Littler on a Monday and it's not all positive, which is a shame. It should be.
Two other interesting things from Newcastle. One was Luke Littler opening some FIFA cards during the walk-on, which I thought was brilliant. Some fan had teed it up for him to press open, which was funny. I did like that during the walk-on.
But wait,
can we just still ain't signing shit?
Say that then, Jat. Sorry.
I don't mind that, but I still ain't signing shit.
What's the difference?
That was a one-off bit of fun, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And if everybody's suddenly lined up with their phones going, "Can you open this pack for me?" It's going to take the piss a bit. But for a one-off little quirky moment, brilliant. Carry on.
You know, the first time someone stopped and signed an autograph while they was walking on, that was the first time it happened. It then progressed into more. This is the same now. People are going to try and then to do stuff that I wasn't a huge fan of it, but because it'll just continue into further. But I don't mind the signatures. Weirdly, on the flip side of Dob on this.
And the other interesting bit was Sky stitching up the Newcastle players that weren't meant to be there. What's that?
I must have missed that bit.
There was 5 or 6 Newcastle players there. One of the long staffs, Matt Target, Dan Byrne, a few of the others. They were in the VIP bit, and then obviously the camera went to them. They were on the big screens and everything like that. And then Eddie Howe was asked in his Friday press conference, "Do you know they were there?" He was like, "No."
It was all lined up with bottles of water all the way across the table. Like,
to be fair, that's all they drank was water. To be fair to them.
No, but if you look back at the footage, it looks like the bottles are perfectly set up. I'm not saying there wasn't, but if you're going to set them up how you was, they would be perfectly set up.
It was funny. But the Premier League rolls on to the Cattle Shed in Exeter this weekend, this Thursday night. And I'm not going to lie, this is probably the one event or the one Premier League that all of these 8 won't mind losing first round. It won't be the end of the world to them if they lose early, because you've got that trek to get to Minehead.
They can get in Dan's e-tron with us.
Are you on the insurance yet?
No idea. We'll find out. If not, just go fast enough they can't catch me. I don't know.
But by the way, if we get enough likes on this, drop a like now, everyone. They don't know this yet. But if we get enough likes, they'll go live on TikTok for the whole journey.
What, from Exeter to Minehead?
No, from picking up you to Exeter.
I know we've got to go via Jar now and all sorts.
At some point, they'll go live on TikTok.
We ain't got enough battery to do that.
Have you not heard of car chargers?
Yeah, but it's an electric car. We need that to get us there.
But
I'm going to vlog the weekend. I vlogged for the seniors weekend, didn't I? So
yes. So
I'm going to get the camera out again. I'm trying to
driving, and he's bang up for it.
Yeah.
So there will be some OD live action from the road trip from the north to Exeter at some point on Thursday. Right, action. First up, Humphreys.
Hang on, how Boise got away with this? He's travelling down as well.
He can do
I'm
Instagram. You can do TikTok.
I'm travelling down way too early.
Yeah, and people will be awake. Our Australian friends down under. Americans won't be asleep yet.
But first up, Luke Humphries takes on Michael Van Gerwen. Probably two of the most informed players in terms of number-wise at the moment. Luke Humphries posting some huge numbers, but not winning, and Michael just doing his thing. What are we saying, chat room, and where are we going, you two? I haven't done my predictions yet, so these are mine. I'll stick them in the WhatsApp afterwards.
Yeah, you still owe week 3, and if they're not in by Thursday, you're getting discounted. You said them on the stream, but you never put them in the chat. Them the rules. You've had an extra 2 weeks to give me their predictions now. If they're not in before Thursday, you ain't getting those points. You have been told. What are you laughing at? I'm being serious. I don't do if buts and maybes. Sadio Mane is the best player in the world. No, I'm joking.
Right. So if I just go back and look at the right numbers, are you going to go back and check the stream to see if they're right?
You didn't get that many points. You would have told us.
I can't remember what I said.
You definitely would have told us.
You can clip it and send me it, and then I'll do it. But I'm not going back to find it myself. Evidence, my good friend.
Right, what we saying? MVG Humphreys chat room, get involved as well. Give us your score predictions.
Humphreys 6-4.
Come on.
No, he's not playing until Friday.
Ooh, I'm gonna go watch him wherever he's on, just so I can shout Martin Lukeman, like Pete, whatever his name does. Philip. That's it.
Swiss Phill.
I've actually got Humphreys 6-4 written down as well.
Oh.
I'm going to go 6-4 MVG.
Oh, friend.
That's how he started. That's how he started his conversation the other day with him as well. Oh, I've backed you every week, Michael.
Nathan Aspinall against Peter Wright. What are we saying?
Asp 6-3.
Wright 6-5. I'm believing.
Get in the bin.
Wright 6-4. I've seen enough. I think he gets 2 points.
I've heard enough of you two to go away.
Gerwyn Price against Rob Cross.
Bobby.
Cross.
6-4.
Cross 6-5.
Did you have 6-4 looking at your face, Scott?
No, I had 6-5. I just didn't expect any of you to back Cross.
Sterling Price in the Premier League, he doesn't bat as much as you'd think.
6-4 Ice Price baby. Littler Smith.
I've just written it down. Where's it gone? 6-4 Luke. Luke.
6-3 Lukey boy.
6-4 Luke. Right. From your predictions, who wins and who do they beat in the cattle shed?
Humphreys.
Yes, Laura, he may have found his underpants.
Humphreys wins. Next.
He loses in the final. Believe it or not, Dob.
I don't believe it because you're predicting it, so fucking no chance.
He loses to Luke Littler. I've just spoke about how it would be good to keep him out the press, and he's going to have to talk to Philip on Thursday night as he wins it.
Poor kid. Has he not suffered enough the last few weeks?
No. Price MVG final.
Oh, here we do. Jack, what way is he going? I'll let you guess.
What's he got? Price MVG?
Yeah.
Oh, Michael. Now he's going to think Kessie can goaded him into it, but it's definitely Michael. And he wants to say Michael 6'4", but he ain't got it in him now that we've called out his prediction.
I'm going better than that. Michael wins 6-3.
Idiot.
Makes it 4 in a row and then wheels off into the sunset. Like I said,
what I will say, Dob, is he definitely didn't back Michael week 3, the one that we haven't done, but I've got a feeling on the message to you we will have backed him.
Week 3, I went for 6-4 Cross, 6-2 Van Gerwen, 6-3 Humphrey, 6-5 Price, and I had MVG to win.
There's no way that you had Peter Wright to win 2 leads. Not possible. The others, I believe.
But we've got a really good interview coming out with Michael this week. Very, very good, very honest, and it has got a massive bleep in it as well, which is always funny. But that is what we think is going to go down in Exeter. Can we ban Phill? Unfortunately not, Matty, because I've got the buttons.
I mean, in this software, so do I. So
yeah, and so do I.
That's right. If you two want to carry on, I'll just watch the second half of the footy. So that is what we think is going to happen in Exeter. Whether it does or not is another matter. But, you know.
Does it ever?
Yeah. Right. The UK Open, the FA Cup of Darts, is back. But before we look at potentially what could happen in the ball allocations, one real shit thing is there's 2 buys in the draw. Come on now. There shouldn't be buys in TV tournaments.
Not when it's already known. If it's something that happens the night, I don't know, if something's to happen on the Friday evening, if someone not playing on the Saturday once the tournament started, or something happens on arriving to the event, then it's very, very difficult to manage as we don't expect reserves to be sat in venues. However, when it's 4 days before the event starts and you know before the draw is taking place, it should not be happening. Not a chance.
Especially at least one of these buys has been known for a significant amount of time. And it makes no sense. And I've said this for a number of weeks because I double checked. He's in the fucking fan zone on Saturday.
Sunday.
You could have still done that and played on the Friday because you ain't making it to the Sunday. But play.
100%. And the other one missing is Adam Hunt. His other half may have booked a holiday by mistake before he won his tour card back.
You'd be fuming. And back to your point, Dob, you might not make it on Sunday, but it wouldn't have done for the sport if he was playing on Friday and the ball already booked up for a Sunday morning exhibition or view, whatever it is. But the PDC should have done something about that. That was well known before the Royalist qualifiers took place. Even if you didn't know until the last one, you could have had your finalists from that event. You know, there was
never that. The challenge to merit. It's literally same play. The next person challenge to merit doesn't have a talk about. That's what it's there for.
However they've done it, with Dave Challenge, Women's Series, anything, the field should be complete. We can argue well into the night about the different variations because we keep talking about that we should be seeing the top 8 women's players in this and all that sort of. There's so many different variations. What you shouldn't have is a buy you shouldn't have anyone who's progressed through. And it's set out quite well. I like how it's done in regards to the players coming in at different stages. You've got your breakdown quite clear of your first, second, third, fourth round breakdown of how you made it into the tournament. To then have someone automatically get into the second round who's actually only in that first round criteria just doesn't make sense.
No, I agree that those buys should have been filled. It's a TV major that there should not be buys in there.
I don't even know what the justification would be for not filling them spots.
There's no rule or precedent to do so. And because every tour card holder is already in the event, they'd only be filling it with somebody from the Challenge Tour, so they don't give a shit. You can't use the qualifiers because they've already set in stone how many of them and whatever else. You can't then reward somebody that's beaten in a final because how do you pick which of the
Challenge Tour or Dev Tour is there?
But the Challenge Tour is your secondary rankings. There are players on there as you go down that list that haven't got tour cards that would have fit in next if the next person on the Challenge Tour withdrew or whatever else. The problem is if you suddenly call up 2, 3, 4, well, 2 women at this point, one buy was known significantly earlier than the other, and 2, if they're only there to fill buys, it's a little bit of it becomes a gimme at that point, doesn't it? Like those spots wouldn't be available to those 2 if everybody took their spot. So then you'd have to take them back off them next year, or do less qualifiers, or give someone else less spots. So to just say give it to the ladies, whilst it makes sense to grow it and give them the spots, you'd have to take spots from elsewhere in following years, and I'm not sure they're going to do that unless they cut qualifiers however they do it. You have to go down a challenge tournament.
Why would the challenge take precedence over the dev? Does the challenge?
Because it's a secondary
the challenge takes precedent in terms of getting a tour card. So
I know, but it takes precedence over the Pro Tour events where the development is obviously about developing players, and for certain players who are not already in the draw, it would be a great opportunity for some of them potentially to play in their first ever professional event.
But challenge is used for the top up for Pro Tours, and you get tour cards and whatever else filling up from that one first. If a player's in the top 2 on a challenge and a dev, they get the challenge spot, and the next one dev goes down. So at that point, that's your secondary ranking, that's your next highest tier. You take it. Your replacement list comes from there. Simply.
So, in fact, I'm up for this one.
Webber, yes. Wayne won't want any part of it.
No, but it'd be great.
That would be great, but only if they're on stage. Seeing them on board 7 would be very, very busy on Friday afternoon.
To be fair, where we played with some new darts at the weekend, that should play really well. But yeah, look, I agree. The Challenge Tour should fill the voids. Right, I've actually prepared a slide. So we had the draw early on last week, and today the boards dropped. So this is how it looks. Any surprise allocations for you guys?
From a game, I probably expected to see Stock Mitchell and Leighton Bennett on either stage 1 or stage 2. Probably the weekend didn't help on part of that, but before then, I was expecting that to see it on either main or stage 2. Other than that, I'm not very surprised with anything else that really came out of it.
The one I might have looked to move up would have been Toretta Grundy. Just because there's a story there about Italian.
Yeah. Anything else that stands?
I mean, potential Ricky Evans, Chris Landman game on board 3. That'll be rapid.
And I know it's because we cover all organisations, but PDC are obviously only focused on themselves. Considering you've just had a new world champion, it would have been very much good to see him on one of the main ones, but John Anderson being on board for I know they're not going to look at that, but Sam's just mentioned it as well.
Yeah.
It's not like he's not a fan's favourite as well. It's not as if he's only done the seniors events and we've not heard of the person from a professional perspective. He's what?
If he makes it that far, we get
so.
stage 2, round 3 appearance from him. But yeah, no main stage for Hendo is.
On the same sort of thought, I know he's on stage 2, but the fact that how big darts is in Belgium is now, I'd quite like to see Andy Barton's on the main stage early.
Yeah, with all due respect, Van der Velde as well just isn't doing it for me as a main stage game.
No, I agree.
Labra, yeah. Steve Lennon's playing some half-decent darts at the minute, but...
And as you've said about him being on board at stage 2, the potential that he could play Soups in the 3rd round, and that's on stage 3 is probably surprising, because then you look at some of the other potential round 3 games that have made it onto stage 1, stage 2. Quite surprising.
I always look at because that's the last one on 2. That's the one you're looking at going, actually, if that's well, any of those, to be fair, Brooks, Crabtree, Van Dongen. The only problem is Treacle plays on the main stage. Well, Van Dongen Treacle plays main stage already. So then they're chucking them to 2. They might then re-promote that to 1 and you see the same players.
That was the first one I've probably looked at last year and this year was what's the final game on stage 2? There's so many times it's moved.
Yeah.
And because I think there's 3 more games on stage 2 than there is on stage 1. Yes, I know they have the breaks, but it only takes 1 slow game on stage 2, and that then changes significantly. So I'd be surprised if Menzies first is one of those 4 reasons moved. But from what I can see, would that be the only one that sticks to stage? I couldn't see any of the others earlier when I was on a quick look through. So those games would remain from stage 2 to would their main stage and main stage then, which is an advantage.
Trying to find what game am I looking for? Yeah, there it is. I'm surprised board number 7. I appreciate it's not a PDC story, but in terms of a darting story, Joe Croft playing, I think, is a story to be told.
Especially when he's already qualified starting from round 1. If they want to tell that story at any point over the weekend, he's then got to go 3 rounds and get a half-decent draw when they do the pot later on.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So to have that on the main stage, and especially against, look, Willie Borland's at a 9-darter at a World Championship. It's not as if it's a complete dud game. There's a story there. Willie Borland back on tour.
You know, they both play at a decent pace.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he remains on. Just looking at the run he made, it's 5, 6, 7, is it? So if Joe Croft was to make it or just make it to the 3rd round, that story will be given to you by Ned and probably Webby in the back room, but we wouldn't actually see anything apart from his winning moments.
Yeah, completely. Look, any other potential ties that you like the look of in the first 3 rounds? I know it's difficult to predict, but is there any potentials that we like the look of? Again, it's a potential right now, but Alan Souter and Andy Bartons, I quite like the potential of.
Yeah. I'm surprised that is at main stage.
Sebastian Białecki against Ashley Coleman, round 2.
Yeah.
On board 8. Coleman plays Walters first, the new German tour card holder. Sebastian Białecki against Jensen Walker up on the main stage.
The one The one that I looked at from round one was Rafferty and Leyby.
Yeah.
Personally, I'm probably going to spend most of my Friday in stages 3 to 8, so I'm disappointed when I've seen it was on stage 2, but that's probably a round one.
I like Rob Owen's first game of the tournament is on stage 2. I feel that's a nice little throwback for him.
Yeah.
Because when he made it all the way to the semi-final, the entirety of the tournament was played in there.
Yeah, 100%. The beast from the east. Again, there's a lot to get through before it can happen, but a potential Jules Van Dongen, Cameron Menzies in round 3.
I think any of those 4 names against Menzies.
Yeah.
To be honest, Tree Cole will be an intrigue in one. Crabtree, we've seen what he's capable of. Bradley Brooks, when he's on it, fantastic. We saw better from him on the Friday at the Super Series recently rather than the Thursday.
And I guess the thing is, Cam's coming into it with a lot of confidence. His performances in the Pro Tour have been so good. But the downside of this is everyone who's coming in at round 3 is playing someone who's either played once or twice already that day, and potentially playing someone who's already played on that stage. As I think it'll move to the main one. So it does slightly change the advantage in that one, but he's one of the names who you're looking at as sort of an outsider because of how well he's playing in the Pro Tours to go deep.
Just trying to find his route to round 3. I'm interested to see Wessel Nyman. I know I keep saying it, but I just get a feeling that he'll be buried on the outside boards as much as possible because of everything that's happened. But I think that might suit him.
It suits a lot of them, doesn't it? Not having that main stage, and that's a possibility. It's not the worst of runs if he was to progress to round 4 with so more difficult.
Look, I with the greatest of respects, I think he beats David Sumner, the qualifier. Then he'd face Neil Zonneveld. We never know what Zonneveld we're going to get. Don't get wrong, the good Zonneveld is very, very good. But there is also an absolute stinker in Zonneveld as well.
The same can be said in the next draw, to be honest.
But then he's got potential. If it were to be this game, Mike De Decker, Wessel Nyman in round 3 should be a main stage game.
However, that's where it's difficult for PDC.
Yeah, no,
because it is so many. It is so many potentials, isn't it?
And they clearly don't rate De Decker because when they changed the Dutch Darts invites to include Belgium for Dimitri, they didn't put Mike in over someone like Van der Waal who's playing garbage. So yeah, you know.
Yeah. How we doing, Phil? Hope you are good, mate. Being Leeds for the Premier League. Look, obviously we can't give you he's got a nice section of the draw, but who are you one, who are you expecting? And 2, who are you hoping has a decent run in Minehead? Chat room as well. Get involved. If you haven't yet, make sure you drop us a like and subscribe as well. Who do you think will have a good run and who are you hoping goes deep?
Gary.
Is that an expectance or a hope?
A bit of both at this point.
The hope of those deep would be just looking at Pro Tour. We've already spoken about Cam. Second one would be Ryan Searle. For Ryan Searle to perform how he has done on the Pro Tour, it would be great to see that followed up. From an expectation, from who I'm sort of expecting to do well, I think the good one's coming from Heta. And I mentioned him last week, Josh Roth. I think Josh Roth had, obviously it's very much draw dependent, but I think Josh could go deep into Sunday. It's because it's coming to a time where this is someone who's speaking so highly about, and at the moment he's sort of done under the radar. So a good weekend to be in store.
I'd love to see a return to form for Johnny Clayton.
He played very well on Friday night.
That's what I mean. I think the dip in form that he suffered over the last 6 months were entirely out of his control. Like, emotions can affect you in many different ways. I think that a good Johnny Clayton is good for darts, and I think there's a gap right now as well. Look, we're looking at that level in the Premier League, and Aspinall's not quite at his best. Peter Wright's struggling a bit. There's a gap for somebody to go and that's an established player of that range. A Joe Cullen doesn't need a good run this week, but would benefit from a deep run as well. Your Chris Dobie, all those players that just missed out on the Premier League. This is the first, as Paul Nicholson put it on social media earlier, this is the first PDC major of the year. This is where you not stick your hand up, because we've seen the likes of Gilded and Knocker be overlooked significantly. But if your face fits and you win this one, there are worse places to be.
Oh, agreed. Yeah, if a certain type of player won this one, it's more beneficial.
You've spoke highly about him over the last few months, and then it's very hard to predict the run of it. But Stephen Bunting, this has got to be one that he's looking to seriously attack. I know every player takes this as potentially a great route to the final, but the form that Bunting's been in over 6 months, surely that's a name that's got to be on the tip of most people's tongues to be an expected runner in this.
Depends how Stephen Bunting is.
Hasn't been very well.
Well, he's social.
Last couple of blocks, he probably shouldn't have even been there.
Yeah. So it's whether he's well enough to produce.
Yeah, on that coast at this time of year, is it going to be the best environment for Stephen Bunting's health at the moment? Wandering around trying to get warm to then have a crack as well. Look, if he rocks up in the same form that he was in at the Masters and whatever for the last few months, 100%, nobody's going to want to play Stephen Bunting.
No.
But if he rocks up and plays like he has done on the Pro Tour for the last 2 blocks, I'll have a crack at him on board 4 in the afternoon, please.
Another name, I've just seen someone mention it in the final, I can't remember where it's on. Dirk van Duivenbode, the sort of change in form there has been ridiculous into someone who we thought there was only one way that player was going due to injury. And then this could be a huge confidence weekend for Dirk. If he goes into it and loses, if he loses round 4, then it's a massive confidence hit. But if he can get himself into the position where he's in the drawing Saturday night or Sunday afternoon, what a change that would be. It's not someone I'm going to talk about going on to win it, because the form he's been in coming into this would be a huge story. But if he can get himself into winning 2, maybe 3 games this weekend, I think that's a great step for Dirk.
A lot of that depends on the draw for me for Dirk. If he gets not a nice one, but a competitive one to start, then yeah, I think he can make his way into the tournament. The concern is, look, we saw him have a half-deep run at the Pro Tour. Is how long can he produce it over that weekend? Can he produce it 3, 4, 5 times over a longer distance as well? Let's not forget that element to it. If he can, then brilliant. I'd love nothing more than for Dirk to be back to his best. Because when he is back to his best, he's a joy to watch. 180 hitting is absolutely superb. He's got the right amount of animation on stage for me in terms of when to give it, when not to give it. He's a player that you can see all the emotions on his face. You know when he's gone in a leg. You know when he's struggling. You know when you feel like he's not going to come back from something. And that makes him enjoyable to watch to me. Like, every emotion is there and raw for me. So, yeah, if he's shifting his shoulder injury and getting... Like, it doesn't have to be 100%. If he returns to 90% this weekend, wins 2 or 3 games, comes out of it positive, and then loses a close one in a race to 10, brilliant. Solid weekend.
There's so many players, and Phill will list off a couple of them easily, that very, very pissed off if they're not on the main stage. Surely he's going to be one of these who's thinking, yes, the competitive game would be very good and that sort of thing, but it surely he would, especially on Saturday and Friday evening, Saturday afternoon, would like to be tucked away on board 5 board 6. He can sort of get himself into that tournament, which is not normally the Dirt approach, but surely that's got to be the way he's looking at it this weekend and not be as pissed off as certain players are when they find themselves on stage 2 or beyond.
I think stage 2 is the prime one for a player in that situation, because there is still a crowd that are focused purely on you. You get a respectful environment. You get your MC and your referee, which is just for you, and you don't have to worry about any other noises or distractions from other boards or celebrations. You can focus just on your game. If you're not going to be on the main stage, go and be on stage 2. It's a really good halfway house for me, for players to go and build it up, play in a decent environment, get used to that. There's enough reaction there if you hit a 180 or win a leg or whatever. You still get not a full-on walk-on, but you get some sort of semblance of a walk-on. You still go through all the motions of a big stage game without it being in that Big Ten.
Yeah.
Phill, I asked you this because I know how much you like the debate of people being on main stage. Looking at the 8 Premier League players,
Yeah.
how many of them made it on the main stage on Friday night? Let's say that none of them draw each other. We've got the possibility none of them draw each other. Let's say all
3 others.
Yeah. If all eight are free of another Premier League player, do all 8 of them make it on stage?
Will there be 8 games on the main stage?
Yes. Yeah.
1, 2.
I thought there was just 4.
No, we
per
don't.
board. When they
Yeah,
come
'cause
in.
they're best of 19s, isn't they?
When they come in, it's, first to 10s, 4 per board.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, you are right.
If they don't draw each other,
They use all 8 boards at that point, don't they? And then the following day, they
Yes.
drop down to the 2
4.
boards. So, they use all 8 boards at that point. It's 4
So
matches.
all 4 of those Premier League players?
3 definitely, 1 question mark.
Humphreys, Littler,
Van
Michael.
Gerwen.
Yeah.
And the question mark will be depending on who Gary gets. I think there's a.
Who Gary gets. If you get Adobe Clayton, are you really going to put Gerwin Price against Ryan Joyce?
Can I just throw? What about Andrew Dilding?
No, I've got more chance of playing on the main stage.
Last year's champion.
Not main stage.
You look at it.
Because I remember being sat here this time last year going, it's an absolute bloody disgrace. I don't care who they are. Danny Noppert's defending champion, and his opening game was not on the main stage. And I'm going to say exactly the same when I won't be in the main stage when he's playing it. But if Andrew Gilding isn't main stage, it will be just not on. They've earned the right to do that as a basis.
The giveaway was when they announced the Ladbrokes sponsorship deal for the UK Open and Players Championship, the graphic didn't have the defending UK Open champion on.
Should be on main stage.
Should be. Yeah, I agree.
I'm not saying he shouldn't, but the fact
I'm guessing, without looking back, I'm guessing not PDC was on stage 2. So that would be the Dilding approach. Because he's got to be on a stage. Yeah,
they're raised from boards 5 to 8 or 3 to 8, whatever it is. There's a little step.
It's got to be his defending champion because it's so disrespectful otherwise.
But no, I don't think he's on the main stage. I think out of the Premier League boys, 3 definitely, and the other spot will depend on the draw. But there's no way Littler's not going on the main stage.
World champion has to.
World champion and world number 1, and there's no way Michael's not. So, yes, Daniel.
Is that a precedent for the weekend now? Because obviously we've still got
100%.
4 stages on. We've still got 4 stages on Saturday afternoon, then down to 2 on Saturday night.
Yeah, 100%.
Them 3 are main stage throughout the whole weekend.
Definitely 2 of them.
Littler and Michael.
Yeah.
I want to disagree with you, but I think they would do that way, even though it's not right.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying I agree with it. I'm just the form Gary Anderson is in right now. Although the PDC pick the boards, ITV have some kind of, we'd like this one. Whether they get it or not is another matter. But they would want Gary on the main stage.
If you've got like the Gary Anderson, Ryan Searle, 4th round Dame, Torrent form,
no question that has to be.
There's no way that it's not going to be on there. But there's also some other names in there. But I agree, I can't see them two at least being on centre stage all the time. Main stage, sorry.
Yeah. So, I would like your winner and runner-up of the UK Open purely guessing they get kept apart. Chat room as well. Daniel, I'm not sure yet. Depends if I can get back from Dublin or not.
The two people I'm expecting, Damon Hector beats Josh Rott in the final.
Gob?
Where am I going with this?
James Wade is one, and then he'll play. You know, Tommy.
No, not even close, mate.
It's on OTV. It's on OTV, though. You sure?
Positive. I think we get the world champ back to winning ways. I think Luke Humphreys beats Ryan Searle in the final, who is not in the match play. Yeah.
Eddie, right there, Phil. Jack, how do you think this one's going?
Michael Van Gerwen beats either Gerwin Price or Luke Littler in the final.
You've got one right.
He's not going MVG then. He thinks he's too knackered. So Price is in the final and he's debating Gary because he fucking. What was that song by the Zombies? I'm in your head.
No, I am going for the El Clasico final. MVG plays Gary Anderson.
A time, what's your head saying?
Now you've got to upset one of your boyfriends. Because if you put them both there, one of them's got to lose.
He's definitely he's definitely winning back the Premier League draw. He's doing Sid Siege.
yeah. Michael Van Gerwen puts last year right. $11-8.
I'd love to see him play on board 6 just once.
We'll turn into a comedy show.
Don't you think it would be funny though? Just put them all out there for one session.
I agree.
See what happens. If you're going to push PDC TV, put one of each. There's 8 Premier League players. Put one on each board.
It would be
never
funny.
going to happen.
It'd be beautiful. And make them all play at the same time, so you can't watch them all. That will stop people saying we're bored of watching them. If you can only see one of the 8.
Yeah.
Instead, we're going to see all 8 of them on the main stage as if we haven't seen them for 12 billion times already.
Positivity's back, and then Dob.
More behinds. Martin Lukman.
Is that all I'm going to hear all weekend?
Yeah. That's how I'm going to greet you across the multi-board room.
Every time we lock eyes.
I'm just going to see you and just scream Martin Lukman.
Andrew, I wasn't being smart. I said, I think they are this dart. Were they a Peter Wright dart? Yes. Did I name the wrong one? Yes, but I didn't say they are. I said, I think they are this one.
I was literally about to ask you they were a right dart when you started talking, and then you got it. So I was like, "Fairs."
Yeah. I got the Mamba and the Medusas ran the wrong way. Matador says, feels like there is an advantage for the top players on the stage all the time. Yeah, I agree. I remember, was it Adrian Lewis and Nathan Aspinall spoke last year because they were on the outside boards and hated every minute of it.
That's why Adrian Lewis isn't playing this year.
And Aspinall beat Alan Suter on board 8 last year in one of the best games I've saw. And it won't be for numbers perspective, but the drama involved in that and us coming through it. Even talking to Suits afterwards, he absolutely enjoyed every minute of it. And apart from you shouting Martin Lukeman to me all weekend, I can't wait to be back on boards 3 to 8.
I'm going Reds all weekend because there's closer proximity to the bar and less chance of me losing my spot.
There's a new MC for Reds as well.
It's me. Martin Lukeman!
It's a recognisable voice. That's all I'm saying.
And also
No.
Philip Brzezinski.
No.
Ross
I've
Bray.
never heard. What's that?
Ross Bray.
I've never heard him MC before, but we'll see.
Paul Starr.
It's not that time. Wait a minute. Let me.
You're not going to spend any time in boards 3 to 8?
There's too many stairs, bro.
I'm not sure if it's common knowledge yet. That's why I'm not going to say.
Oh, you put it in that one. I was waiting for WhatsApp.
No.
I know. I just had an eyebrow raise.
Yeah.
Rob, those headphones will not be of sufficient quality to block me out this weekend.
I've tried it at multiple seniors events and it hasn't worked, so I don't know why this one would.
But that is the UK Open. We had double trouble at the Super Series. See, I remember before being prompted about it this time.
I've written down on a piece of paper in front of that notepad still in use. Darby's definitely done it on that in front of me.
The one week Boise doesn't want to talk about it, by the way, because his best mate Neil won.
Yes, Matador, they are involved in darts already. Sort of.
I think I've seen them elsewhere as well.
What, on darts?
No. But in this role.
I think so as well. On another product that Matchroom own?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
I think he's done it there as well. But yeah, Super Series Double Trouble was won by Neil Duff. And first of all, I enjoyed the concept of a special week. Thought it was really good.
Freshened it up a bit, didn't it? Made a change. And we got to finish shifts early. It was beautiful. We should play more best of fives.
That was brutal at times, that best of 5.
I think we spoke about it the lead up to. We knew it was going to deliver in. It could have delivered in many different ways because of the drama of double in, double out. But yeah, it was shorter games. It was a lot more brutal than we've seen, even though the best of 7 can be and has been at times anyway. But that just continued. And for gritted teeth, many congratulations, Neil, for winning on Saturday.
And that, look, to be fair, in the semi-final and final, his Dublin stats were incredible. Absolutely.
His finishing all night was ridiculous. It was 9 from 12 going into the final.
Yeah.
He had a bit of a mare in the third leg, second leg and third leg, I think it was. But yeah, look, he's played really well. He's built up through the week really nicely. A couple have gone at it hard in the first couple of days and found themselves with an empty tank by the end of it, especially those that had been at the Circus Tavern the weekend before. He played really well. He did what he had to. The double-in format isn't about being special. It's about being consistent because you have to get in and out as well. And that makes a big difference to just producing 12 dart leg, 11 dart leg and having a leg off and not being competitive. Like the pressure that is built by not getting in is immense. I mean, we didn't get a brush, look,
No.
it's nice that it didn't happen, but also as a fan, you sort of want to see just one, don't you? It's a bit of
You just want to see how the player reacts.
in that sort of regard. I think the closer we came to getting one was either the semi-final or the final
Yeah.
to win it. Like, that was mental, but yeah, look, really good concept. Couple more ideas already in the bank. The next couple of themes are already known to those in Portsmouth, or certainly one of them is. Be announced later in the year or later in this series.
Later in this series, because it's happening in 12 weeks' time.
I thought today started really well.
Yeah.
Shane's played some solid darts. Nathan Gervin has shown glimpses again, but the lack of consistency really is hurting his game at the moment. Who else was up there today? Ashton is starting to look tired already, and that's not a good sign on day one of a Group A campaign, but she's done Tavern full week and another full week.
Nathan using new darts as well, I noticed from the last time he was there.
Yes.
I don't recognise the dart, but I know they weren't. He hadn't thrown them.
The target belied. They were the target belied.
I don't know. That's what I said. I didn't recognise what dart they were. I just know they weren't.
Yeah.
What he normally throws, and he was playing with the K Flex.
Yeah.
Back end,
which are back in stock, but cost you an extra £2 right now because the demand is so high.
Really?
Yeah, they got a second batch in today, and instead of being 650 as they were on release, everything's 850 now. Supply and demand, isn't it? It's gone crazy.
Yeah.
Most places are sold out already. They only got back in stock this morning. They cannot get them quick enough.
Mad, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. That is changing in sport, and the minute a Van Gerwen or a Smith or someone goes, everybody's going to go.
Van Gerwen will not use them 100%. Because I was chatting to him about this the weekend, funny enough. 100%, you'll never see him using them. There are just certain players that you can't see changing technology. Michael, Gary being two of them.
But Gary will be gone by the time the guard changes effectively. Van Gerwen is the one that will have to adapt if it's producing better results for everybody else, because he still is only 33 years old.
And money talks.
Lee, are you older than Van Gerwen?
So is Philip. Why was that aimed solely at me?
Because he's significantly, and we can see that. You, on the other hand.
Take that as a compliment. I can see that in one, but not quite in you. Yes, but I am older than him. Thank you very much for pointing that out.
My pleasure.
Yeah, no, it's going to be interesting that all manufacturers now have a version of the molded flight and stem. I know, Gob, you've experimented with different ones, so you're probably but I've thrown a few of them. I can't get on with them.
It depends on them, and it depends on the moment. Like, I've thrown significantly thinner ones. I've thrown Cosmos. I've thrown Condors, both zero stress and Axe. I've thrown the new Windmill Fusions. I've thrown Owl Styles. I've thrown Harrow's Click. I've thrown every single model you can find, either one piece or two piece. Apart from really consistently the K Flex. I did have a chat with Jared Cole's darts of the week, and he had a set of K Flex on them at that point. But I was more concerned about the barrel at that point, which I've now gone out and bought a set of myself. So,
of which, how are they going?
When they're on, they're very good. I'd ordered them, and then I played last week for Mace's team and played very well with my old setup, and now it's sort of in the back of my head. I was like, oh no, what have I done? Yeah, they're all right. No, I'm never going to be a world beater. I'm way past that, but if I can find some consistency, it's more getting the action right at the minute, which is a bit all over the place anyway. So always has been.
Fairs. WDF.
Throwing will not be in a vlog this week, but it was in the seniors one.
Was it Slovakia or Slovenia this week? I didn't see.
It was about 5 WDF week.
Yeah, I didn't see anything of it. I know Matt Edgar was out in one of them. But yeah, didn't see.
I think Pratnama won both in Slovakia. And Paige, I want to say Paige Pollen won. The girls and the women's.
Nice. I didn't see.
May have just made that up though. That may have been Scotland last week. No. Nothing.
No, it wouldn't have been Scotland.
Oh, speaking of Scotland, have you watched Matt's vlog on? Absolutely ruined it. And
No, I'm a YouTuber now, so I've been watching the numbers on my own instead.
And a lot of comments backing it up that wasn't the best by all accounts.
I've not watched it yet.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah. The Scottish Open. Yeah, Johnny's just put it there. Yeah, the Scottish Open didn't come out of it covered in glory, I have to say. Matt says I was in Scotland. It was awful. Yeah, it didn't sound great. I'm not going to lie. Which is a shame considering the prestige that tournament should have.
Yeah, but when you travel back 30 years to get there, what do you expect? Hello to all our friends in Scotland.
Yeah.
To be fair, at least the Scottish Open is in Scotland because the Welsh Open is in Weston-super-Mare. So,
I'm not sure if he's in the chat room as well. But I'm not sure if he's in the chat room. But Dan did some market research for us after we spoke about that, and asked Mrs. Simpson that if he was going to play in the Welsh Open, would she mind? The answer was no. I'm going to play in the Welsh Open in Weston-super-Mare. Is that all right? The answer was a very emphatic no.
Considerably further away.
Yeah. So thanks for Dan for doing some market research for us. We thought we'd try the waters on that one, but wasn't to be. Is AE playing in the UK Open, or could if he wanted to? Second part, he could. But the first part is no, he is not. Matt says also the Welsh Open has moved.
See him on the green on Sunday.
Yeah. Also 2 weeks before the British Open. That doesn't make a lot of sense. Where is the British Open still in Brid?
I believe so, because it used to be in Chelsea, didn't it?
Chelsea, yeah. Because I thought it was in Chelsea. I used to go all the time. Because Chelsea's like only an hour and 40 minutes from mine. So we used to go
caravan park in the country is Chelsea. Maybe even in Europe. You have to get a bus to get to the third bit. That comes once every 45 minutes.
It's absolute huge complex.
When I played pool there, I used to know one of the organisers on the national committee, so we used to get one right next to the front door.
Daniel, there's nothing to talk about. It's just a draw. We don't even know two of the players yet. So until we know who they are, there's nothing really to talk about.
It is there. Ta-da!
But yeah, Gates Howson, Taylor Adams, and Hendo and Thornton, we don't know who they've got yet. So until we've got the complete draw, we'll do a normal preview once we know who they are. Adam, the odds on the reigning UK Open champion making the main stage or stage 2 on Friday night. Oh,
he's on stage 2. He's on stage 2 on Friday night.
Look, he has okay odds of being on the main stage if he draws a Premier League player. If he draws Luke Littler, he's straight on there. Fair play. Well done. You're back up there.
Okay, so we say that if he draws a Premier League player, if he draws Peter Wright in the 4th round, is he on the main stage? Because I don't think he is.
To be honest, I wouldn't even want to see that in red. I'd be going upstairs.
Yeah.
But we're saying if how bad of a president would that set if the current UK Open champion draws a Premier League player and he's still not on main stage? It's sort of telling you you're not going to be on there. He'll be on stage 2, I think.
Maybe he needs to do a little dance at the end of his walk on, and then he'll get the recognition he deserves.
Hey, he's got the
Will from in between us.
No, Phil's going to carry on and play to the end of the year. Again, we've got an interview with Phill dropping this week from the weekend. We discussed Bo early on. She had a really good time at the Dev Tour. I think sat 10th or 11th on the order of merit now.
I want to say 11th.
8th is 11th. I want to say 8th.
I thought she dropped a little bit. because you didn't play the last one.
10th. We're all on 10th.
I said 10th or 11th.
Okay, let's say loads of numbers, and I hope it's one of them.
Yeah, she's in the top 512. Well done, me.
Always back yourself. Give yourself outs. That's how it works. Rule number 2: never let the truth get in the way of a good story. What's bigger, winning the UK Open or getting an invite to the Premier League? Getting an invite to the Premier League.
It's worth.
Depends who you are.
How
That's
would you-
that's surely player dependent. Ask Darren Anderson that question now.
Grand Slam.
He's
Triple
done a big
crown?
Open.
What do you say?
Triple crown.
Right, 22. I've stayed calm until this point, but now I'm going to lose my shit. You're an idiot.
There we go.
It's ready.
There we go.
You should have
There
said
it
Phill
is.
automatic ready straight away.
It's all right, though, because he shared a photo earlier where he was introduced as a darts journalist.
I
So
know. Yeah,
for a man that consistently tells he's not a journo,
content creator.
journalist.
Journal.
What do I think of the Phill tackle Michael Van Gogh? To be fair, Phill actually played quite well, but Michael was just relentless in the game in Chester. Like, relentless. He was averaging 126 at one point. It was bonkers.
Yeah. I mean, he's averaged 85 and it's purely a scoring average, but yeah.
Did that drop? He had a stroker of the last leg.
He left to finish after 12. He had one bad visit of 30, but Van Gerwen opened up 45 in the leg.
Oh, he had one bad leg. It might have been 3, but he was all right apart from one leg.
So well, that's why I walk with a limp.
Should Exeter be scrapped for another venue? Andrew, if you can find another venue that's close enough to Exeter, yes. But at the moment, there just isn't anything near enough to get players, staff, equipment for the UK Open.
It doesn't have to be near Exeter, by the way. They just put another Premier League night near wherever they find it. That might be what's holding them back from going to Skeg. You ain't going to Lincoln. Nottingham to Skeg's a ball ache at that time of night. But yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to bully about something else then. I can't remember what. You got away with one.
Whilst he tries members, make sure he drops a like, everyone, and subscribe as well. Right, get your questions in then. Whilst have we forgotten anything for this week? I think we've actually done quite well.
Well, the one thing we normally forget, you spoke about 20 minutes ago, just to
I know.
announce the person who won. But other than that, didn't we have a Pro Tour before Pro Tour last Tuesday and qualifiers?
Yes, we
Yeah.
did.
Jesus.
That's gone back some. Christ,
Ryan
there's been
Searle! Woo!
a lot of water under the bridge since then. Ryan Searle actually winning a Pro Tour after getting...
Wait, no, was that?
No, that was Monday. Damon Heta beat Chris Dolby on
Was that
Tuesday.
Monday?
Yeah, there was that one. Fuck me.
Yeah, because Damon Hetter's finishing was literally finishing from the gods. Like, I think he took
Got
up...
back Toby, gave it a big one, and then bailed at the perfect time for it to all go to shit. Because I had to go and be important
think-
for the Wales team in Ilkeston.
Out of the 8 legs he won, there was either 4 or 5 ton-plus finishes. It was literally ridiculous. Malachi, by all accounts, that has been false reported, and there's been a segment of the interview taken out of context. I haven't read it, so I don't know. I've just seen a lot of people kicking off about the article. I saw Danny Baggish stick up for both Leonard and Jules in a social media post as well. So I haven't read it, so I'm not going to comment on it. But my experience of Leonard has always been good. I shared a car with him for 4.5 hours from Blackpool to Portsmouth.
He might not say the same in response to you, Philip, but
Probably not, but
I'm pretty sure his words were, "Oh my God, not this guy again," when you had to talk to him afterwards. Genuine quote.
yeah.
You know what it was? He just didn't want to spend the time with a journalist. He was worried that what stories would come out.
So, Adam, we've spoken about this, funny enough, and I'm not sure it could be done because although Area 57, whatever it is big, I'm not sure it's big enough to hold a Premier League night.
Just put in the main arena.
They haven't got time to strip everything out and strip it back again.
You have just give the UK Open as part of the Premier League sponsorship deal and add an extra 200 grand to your playing.
That's not the issue.
Yeah.
The issue is it's different broadcasters. So they wouldn't have time to rig for one broadcaster and then rig for another.
That won't be an issue in a couple of years anyway.
Possibly, yeah. But at the moment it is. Yeah, Whitlock hit a 9-darter against Luke, but still lost. No, I'm in the Premier Inn. They're on site. I'm in the Premier Inn.
It's weirdly that I'm going to be at a dart event with you, Dob, and we're not roomies.
All right. I'm at the Premier Inn on Thursday.
And then you're mixing it with us.
Slumming it. The only other time I've stayed on site has been in a nice little chalet around the back because I kicked in Kyle's. It was lovely.
Yeah, I tipped in these rooms last year. Lovely won't be a word you'll use all weekend.
The best accommodation at Butlins is that blue skies that the top 16 get. They're incredible.
I don't know where those ones are.
So you know where Area 57 is?
Yeah.
They're behind that.
Oh.
It is Butlins Minehead.
What's John McDonnell going to say this week? Because he can't say the beautiful city of Butlins Minehead, can he? It's not like the Vatican.
It'll just be, here we are at Butlins Minehead.
What do we think the debutant's line's going to be? Can't use tungsten time. It's taken.
32 grams. Right, get your questions in then. We've got about 10 minutes of question time for you.
The closest town to the venue is Minehead.
In terms of major town, Taunton.
Was the one we've not started in our Bath End answered about the Grand Prix?
No, that's a good point. No, it wasn't. Yeah. Sorry, we did start this one early for you. Do you think the Grand Prix will be in Leicester this year?
I prefer to keep it at Silverstone. There's an actual track there, but yeah, whatever. I'm doing. Yeah, it will be.
Got it.
Yeah. My gut says yes. I know they were looking at a couple of venues in Ireland, but my gut says it will be at Leicester, unfortunately.
And also the window of sales for that won't be far away, you would assume, with the match play going on today. The Grand Prix is a month or two after from sales normally, so
well, yeah,
that venue will have to be tied up very, very quickly.
The World Series finals have gone on sale, so that's like the first proper event at the back end of the year after the break. So yeah, it won't be long until they're looking to get them on sale. So yeah, I should imagine we would hear very, very soon.
The match play went on sale today and sold out, didn't it? It's done.
There is literally
Get anything.
I think I saw the graphic. There is very, very limited tickets for the second window tomorrow.
The graphic that they sent out early was only sold out Saturday, Friday, Saturday. Very limited on the rest. But that graphic was put out pretty early, if I'm being honest, Ob. So you might be right that that's now changed.
Yeah.
When I say pretty early, a few hours after release. And obviously that window is now continuing to be open for PDC members.
Yeah, look, they're not going to go on general sale. What was also encouraging is it had limited numbers for the Sunday afternoon for the women's match play as well on that graphic, which would be very, very good if the ticket sales increase again from last year.
If they were able to sell the bottom of the Winter Gardens, that would be great.
Last year it was close.
Yeah, that's what I mean. If they could make that step to then sell it all of the bottom, that would look very, very good and be very good for all the ladies to play in front of that many players in what is a brutal Sunday afternoon tournament.
Yeah. Do the players who get knocked out early generally weekend stay for the weekend? Generally, not all of them. Some do, some don't, depending.
You do.
Yeah,
because it's such a ball ache to get back to any hotel, and most of them are travelling with each other. So the concept of dashing off anywhere when you've got a driver and then got to get them back into London or even like Bristol Airport, which isn't a major flight to anywhere, isn't worth somebody leaving for a significant duration of time to get them to an airport to then come back and do the same run again, potentially a day later. A lot of them just clear off Monday morning or Sunday night.
Yeah, it depends. It depends who they're partnered up with and how far they are to travel. A lot of them were, from memory of last year, a lot of them were still around, especially on the Friday. If you've done in the first couple of rounds on the Friday, your alcohol consumption across that day means you're not going to be driving anywhere that day, that you tend to still be there until at least the Saturday, but then there's still a lot of support throughout. I didn't see many around on the Sunday, if I'm being honest. That one, we moved to one sort of room then, but across the Friday and Saturday.
Upstairs, mate.
Yeah.
In terms of engagement with PDC dart players, this is the best event to be able to have a conversation with them. But don't expect that. At the same time, don't walk up to them and go, this guy said you're going to talk to me because you're at an event. Like, there's still people out in public.
Yeah. Rob, the Super Series is just looking at a couple of other avenues at the moment. Thoughts on the main stage? Yeah, we said it earlier, Adam, that they've done a particularly good job with the selections. Big Johnny's off to ride Guardians of the Galaxy. Superb, mate.
Child.
The one main stage game that we didn't really discuss about, that I don't remember, was it stood that Steve Beaton's on there? Considering it could be his last UK Open. Well, you'd expect it to be his last UK Open, potentially to be his last UK Open game if result doesn't go his way. It would only be fair that he plays on that main stage at some point this weekend. So to make sure that happens, he's got to be on the first one, hasn't he? So for him to be on, he's a good pick, but not many others.
Do we think the likes of Beaton and those that are going to drop off shortly and potentially play other avenues like the seniors would still go to things like the UK Open qualifiers?
No.
It's only one a year then, isn't it?
Don't think so. It's my personal.
No, neither do I.
Yeah. Who's on comms for stage 2? I know Nico is, but I don't know who's doing it with him. I don't know if Dan is working for the PDC or ITV this weekend.
No idea.
Yeah, I know Nico's doing it, but I'm not sure who he's doing it with.
Is the coverage set up for ITV for Ned, Mace, Warren Little, Jackie,
Webby?
Webby doing stage 2 with Neda then?
I think you'll see Webby in the main stage as well. Dawson Nico all weekend. Yeah, I didn't know if Dan was working for IT, which look, that's good that Dan's on stage 2, but criminal that he's not on the main broadcast. It's like double-edged sword.
If Sky can realise that Dan Dawson deserved the entirety of the World Championship final, then surely ITV can realise just how much better he is at pretty much every avenue of this event than a certain man that loves cycling.
Yeah. Sounds like Mason Webby are going to have heavy shoulders again this weekend.
Anyway, go back a minute. How the fuck is Nathan Richards still alive? Little shit.
Yeah, no, I agree, Matador. I couldn't see Steve Beaton rocking up at Riley's in Norwich. But it could be quite a good story, but I just can't see it.
That'll be an experience for him. 35 years after winning a world championship, using a pool cue as an hockey.
Flooded toilets and
Peter loves a decent day out, to be fair.
Yeah, not quite sure. How many of Adam Smith's 9-yard dot builds ended up on eBay?
He hit 9-yard last week as well.
Yeah. Yes, indeed.
Well, you go on your big kids ride.
What darts tournament have I been?
Riley's Norwich, worst darts tournament.
Yeah. I mean,
I've played ball there a couple of times, and it's always been all right. Because we have to travel to Great Yarmouth, and obviously we used to work for Riley's. If we had a big wait over on the train, then on the way to like Interleague and whatever, a couple of us would just book a table on our staff card and go in there. We played like 9 ball on an English table and all sorts. Got like the manager, got all like the decent like gimmick balls out, fucked around for ages, didn't pay for a thing. You mean? Probably why the toilets don't work. We weren't paying.
Yeah.
Yeah, part of the reason here, Dob.
Yeah, no money to refurbish it.
Yeah.
Yes, Matt, the theme weeks will continue. There'll be series, theme week, series, theme week, and so on.
I know the next one.
So do I.
Don't we all?
No.
Hasn't this one been announced, or if I...
No, it's not been announced yet.
Don't say anything if you think you know it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I do know.
Oh, I know the next one.
Has Gob ever hit a 9-darter? I can tell you the answer to that.
Yes, I have. And then I woke up.
With his face in his cornflakes going...
Oh, if it's cornflakes in 2024, you cretin.
Cornflakes are decent. What's your crunchy nut ones?
I'll work with him. Obviously, get rid of him. Come on.
Are we ending this show on cornflakes? Please. God help me.
We've ended shows on worse things.
I would like to say we've ended it on better, but I thought it went.
Maybe just end the show full stop. That's it. And on that bombshell, it really is time to end.
Yeah, everyone, thank you for your support as always. We will try and let you know our plans for the UK Open once we finalise them. Just chatting to the team to see who's available because most of them are there. So we're just seeing what we can muster up for you. 5 interviews coming out this week. We have interviews with Michael Van Gerwen, Phill Taylor, Mark Webster, Luke Humphreys, and Johnny Clayton all to drop. which will be good. Speaking to them away from PDC environment, they say some really good things. So we'll have them dropping soon. Of course, Premier League for you this week as well. But before we sign off, boys, have we missed anything?
Fucking torn flights, man. No.
Oh, Cocoa Pops.
Now we're talking.
Do you buy the little six pack of multiple?
Oh, the variety boxes, whatever they were.
The variety box, yeah.
No.
We used to, and then I used to realise that one wasn't enough, so you end up eating two at a time anyway, and it ain't bloody worth it.
Do you want me to bring you some to mine, Ed?
No. I think we were looking at the food package, so someone baked us omelettes instead. Because we're bringing Dan Pellegrino with us, aren't we?
To answer your question, Philip, no, there's nothing else to speak about.
Everyone, we have been on Nine Darts. I've been Phill Bars, Jack Garwood, and Lee Boyce. Thank you very much for your continued support. This will be available as an audio only in the morning as well from all good providers. But that is us signing off. The UK Open is on the horizon, and we'll see you all very, very soon.
Martin Lukeman!
Stupid.